Hello everyone, what is happening? I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. Train rides are great in my opinion. I rarely take the train, but I still prefer it to flying anywhere. There's something cozy about it and you can just go to sleep, read a book, listen to music, look at the passing scenery like you're in a movie. It's pretty great. But trains also have a lot of history to them. Legends surrounding people who have jumped on the tracks, trains that seem to be running that aren't truly real, and let's not forget that being near railway tracks at night is just spooky in and of itself. As always guys, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as well as top 10 Hindi videos. But let's just jump into it. This is the top 10 scary ghost train stories. Starting us off with number 10 are the haunted tracks. Now this one's an urban legend originating from San Antonio, Texas. Back in the 1940s, there was a school bus full of children going towards an intersection when it stalled on the tracks. The bus driver was rushing trying to get the children off the bus, but he wasn't quick enough and a speeding train ended up hurtling into the bus, killing the bus driver and 10 of the children. After the accident, it's said that if any car stops near the tracks, many unseen hands will push it across the tracks to safety. And obviously a lot of people have speculated it's the hands of the children who died in the accident pushing these cars to safety to try and save them from the fate that they themselves suffered. People have even covered their bumpers with flour or baby powder and have seen their fingerprints on the car itself. However, as nice as the story is, there is no official record of the accident ever taking place, yet locals claim it did definitely happen. Anyone from San Antonio confirm or deny? Let me know. Coming in at number 9 is the little girl. Now this story takes place in North Road railway station located in southern Durham in England. The station opened its doors in 1842 and its far platform is currently home to a third-class carriage that was built in 1865. Inside this carriage, many have seen a young girl dressed in Victorian clothes, and she's usually in the far right compartment at the back of the carriage. I feel like that's too specific for it to be a lie, you know what I mean? Staff at the station have frequently heard noises coming from the carriage, like sounds of a child laughing and singing, but every time they've checked inside, it's been empty. In 2008, a staff member even reported he had heard knocking from inside the carriage. He went inside to check and found it empty, but as soon as he went to the waiting room, the banging and knocking sounds started up again. At number 8, we have the floating train. Now this story comes from Jana Bommersback, who retells a Canadian folk legend from Alberta. A man named S.E. Slosh said him and his friend Bob Twohy were train firemen who in 1908 saw the light of a train approaching them, and since there was only one track, they both thought they were done for. At the last second, the train veered right, and as they watched it pass, it wasn't even on the tracks. It was floating, and all the passengers on the train were just staring at them through the windows. After seeing this, it scared Bob enough for him to actually stop working for like a few months. Schlosser continued and started working with a man named Jay Nicholson, and both witnessed the same thing happening again and again with the same staring passengers. A few months later, Schlosser heard an accident had taken place. A head-on collision had happened in the exact place he had seen the ghost train. 7 people were killed, one being Bob and the other being Nicholson. The two trains involved were the Lethbridge locomotive and the other was this apparent ghost train which they thought wasn't even real. So how did the accident even really happen? Filling our number 7 slot is the St. Louis Light, the St. Louis Ghost Train, or the St. Louis Ghost Light, whichever the 3 names you fancy using. Now this case is located in St. Louis, Saskatchewan, and has even been featured on the TV show Unsolved Mysteries, and it basically is a paranormal phenomenon of a strange light moving back and forth on a very old abandoned railway line at night. The light dims and brightens up and it even changes color. The line doesn't even have its tracks anymore, but the lights are still there. People believe it's a ghost train or the ghost of an old drunk brakeman who lost his head on the tracks and now spends his days wandering up and down the line with a lantern looking for his head. However, 2 senior students from La Ronge actually won their science fair by investigating the tale and pointed to the diffraction of the lights from different cars as the reason behind the lights. That's great if it's true, but people reported seeing the lights before cars were even invented, so things just don't completely add up. Do you guys have any theories? Let me know in the comments below. Now at number 6 is Leamington Spa Station. Now this station was built in the 1880s and is located in the town of Royal Leamington Spa in England, which is a spa town if you didn't guess that from the name. This station has been plagued with ghost stories for decades. A worker was staying late to work in the top office building and witnessed lights switching on and off by themselves, paperwork being flung about, and even doors slamming by themselves. There have been so many incidents that Chiltern Railways has actually hired a supernatural liaison officer back in 2014 in order to patrol the station and wait for ghosts. Nick Reese, the officer, claims hearing footsteps when no one is there is a daily occurrence and that most of the ghosts are friendly and have good energy. I mean, at least there's positive vibes. His job is to check the ghosts' tickets because apparently they've been using their abilities to just go through the gates. And I mean, if I was a ghost, I'd probably do the same. You may be a ghost, but you still have to pay the train fee, people. Reese also makes sure the ghosts don't eat other people's sandwiches and that they don't direct people to the wrong train. Coming at number 5 is the Silver Arrow. That sounds like the next Marvel or DC superhero, doesn't it? But anyway, the Silver Arrow is actually the nickname of a metro train in Stockholm which has a bunch of urban legends surrounding it and the apparent ghosts aboard it. The reason people are so freaked out by it is because almost all the metro trains in Stockholm are green, so most people aren't even aware of this one, which is silver. Some people claim that they can see it passing stations at an unnatural speed around midnight, and others say it's only ever been seen in deserted tunnels by metro workers. The most common belief is that if someone gets picked up by the arrow, they either get off months or years later, or they straight up just disappear altogether. The train is empty on the inside or filled with its ghostly passengers, whichever one you want to believe more. The latter is more fun, I guess. At number 4 is the HELLHOUND. Opened back in May of 1980, Moulsecoomb railway station located in East Sussex is the subject of many ghost stories. Most travellers that come through the station report hearing a dog growling and panting when there's clearly no animal around. The stories have been around for decades and have even made it into a book called Brighton Ghosts and Hove Hauntings. Some people have even reported to have been stalked by the horrific ghost dog at night when they've been alone, and he's said to have red glowing eyes. Honestly, if I saw that sight at a deserted train station, I would forget the train and walk the hell to my destination, even if it was miles away. I'm guessing maybe this dog was run over on the tracks, or maybe its owner wasn't paying attention and let it walk along the tracks, and now it's taking its revenge on the travellers that come. Maybe. Filling our number 3 slot is Lincoln's Phantom Train. Now during the spring of every year, it's said that a phantom train travels through 7 states and 440 communities from Washington DC to Springfield, Illinois. After Abraham Lincoln was assassinated on the 14th of April 1865, his funeral train was planned by the Secretary of War at the time, Edwin M. Stanton. The train left Washington on the 21st of April and arrived in Springfield on the 3rd of May. Now the train itself was called the Lincoln Special and consisted of 9 cars, with the 8th one being the funeral car. The train is said to still run its route every year during the same dates and times as the original journey. Literally hundreds of people have reported seeing a ghost train going through the countryside. Apparently, when the train is passing through, watch and clock shops nearby stop running and the air on the tracks becomes ice cold, whereas the area right next to the tracks remains the same temperature. Some say they've heard mournful music as it passes, some say it's silent, some say they can hear a whistle and see black smoke, or just see a headlight at night. Some people have even reported seeing skeletons in blue standing at his casket. People in the states the train passes still hold watches for the train and try to capture it on film. People in any of these states, have you heard of the Lincoln Ghost Train? Have you seen it? Let me know. Send me pictures of it. I need to see this. Now at number 2 is the Railway Murderer. Already from the name you know this is going to be a juicy story. Or am I just clickbaiting you? You decide. This legend is about the Balcombe railway station located in West Sussex. Wow, this is the 2nd ghost station in Sussex. I feel like they need to do an evaluation of their train stations. Honestly, something is wrong. But anyway, the station started operating in July of 1841 and it runs between Balcombe and 3 bridges. Dating back to the year 1881, there was an infamous railway murderer named Percy Lefroy Mapleton. What a fancy name, first off. But he was known for killing 64-year-old killed Isaac Frederick Gold, again a very fancy name. Percy killed Isaac when the latter was in the first class smoking compartment in the third carriage. Percy left Isaac's body at Balcombe Station, so it's said that he haunts the station. On top of that, 3 World War I soldiers were also killed at the station by a moving train whilst they were sheltering themselves from a bombing raid. It's said during World War II the ghosts of the soldiers have been seen tormenting other soldiers who were hiding there for the same reason they were. I mean, at least they're poking fun at it. And finally, at number 1 is the Ghost Congregation. Don't get excited, this story isn't about a train or station full of a congregation of ghosts, but it does include multiple ghosts in the same place. Carlisle Railway Station is located in Cumbria, England, and it first started services in 1847 and is said to be haunted by many ghosts who have unfinished business. Many have seen a headless man patrolling platform 8, a little boy who was killed on his bike with his dog, and a murderous butcher and the woman he murdered. In the undercroft of the station, a skeptic went with a ghost medium to see if the stories were actually true. The medium told the butcher to give them a sign if he was there, and the closed doors immediately swung open. The people with them explored every haunted room in that station, and many claimed they were being touched by invisible hands either on their head or their legs. There's just too many ghosts in the station all grouped together for my liking. And guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you got your fair share of spooky train and train station stories. I'm not gonna lie, every time I take a train I low-key feel like I'm taking the Hogwarts Express, even though of course I'm not. Have you guys had any spooky train experiences? Let me know in the comments below, as I do read and reply to a lot of them. As always, I'm your host Eamon Hassan, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!